We are creeping up real close to that halfway point of this NHL season, and for some teams, my Oilers included, it's been a little disappointing. Things haven't really gone according to plan, if you will. But that's okay. There are still reasons to tune in and watch hockey, right? Well, I got 3 reasons in particular to watch disappointing teams this NHL season. And you know what? Might just be an excuse to watch some disgusting clips from some exciting young players. So let's get into it. Hey hockey fans, welcome back. Welcome in if this is your first time tuning in. I'm Josh. This is the Hockey Flow, the place that is all in on the Michigan. If you haven't yet, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. I do appreciate it. Now let's get into 3 reasons to watch disappointing team. First up, we have a little 2-for-1 situation. We're going to take a look at 2 of my favorite young players in the NHL. First, we're going to take a look at the former Michigan Wolverine, Kent Johnson. Then, we're going to take a look at the Russian, Kirill Marchenko, both of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And apologies, Blue Jacket fans, but this season, it hasn't really gone the way you had expected. Big Johnny Gaudreau signing, Patrick Laine, but thanks to NHL.com standings, we see that, you know what? The season really hasn't gone according to plan. But injuries have played a large part in that, and this upcoming draft, woo baby, is it stacked. And you have 2 young players that I am extremely excited for. You know what? I might even call them must watch. We see how electric these 2 players can be, and in different ways, right? If we take a look at their hockey prospecting player cards, be sure to check out their site, big shout out to them. We can see that these 2 beauties posted strong NHL equivalency scores across their youth seasons. Starting with Johnson, known for his skill, we see him posting a respectable NHL equivalent of 41 points as a 19-year-old last season across Michigan and a brief stint in the NHL with the Blue Jackets. And this season, he's on pace for a solid 46 points. Not too shabby. Now, another fun aspect of these hockey prospecting cards are the player comps. We see here that one of Kent Johnson's draft year comps is none other than Trevor Zegras. And I love this. Trevor Zegras is a great comp from the eye test. When I see Kent Johnson, he reminds me of Trevor Zegras from last year. He really does. They are similar players in build, and they both have a disgusting amount of skill, but also the borderline cockiness to attempt absolutely crazy moves. We see it in both of them, right? Did someone say Michigan? Both players absolutely love trying the Michigan. We need a Johnson Zegras shootout challenge now. NHL, make it happen. But Zegras is ahead of Johnson from a production standpoint in their respective rookie seasons. Zegras is just a little bit ahead of Johnson from last season. But we can see that Johnson's stats, courtesy of hockey stat cards, and the points have started to come. That's right, baby. The goals, we're starting to see them. But he isn't quite at Zegras' pace from last season. Hopefully, right, the Blue Jackets will continue to insert him on that top line, give him some more minutes between Gaudreau and Laine. But tell you what, no matter what, I'm going to be watching. But we can't forget about Marchenko. Now, Marchenko was recently called up by the Blue Jackets, but he's already made quite an impression in just a short period of time. But as we look back to our hockey prospecting player cards, we can see that Kirill is a little bit further along in the developmental curve from an age perspective. He is a couple of years older than Johnson. His production, though, in Russia was absolutely fantastic, posting an NHL equivalent of 58 points in his final season over there, better than Johnson's last season. If we do look at the player comps too, I do like the Philip Forsberg comp, right? Big body winger. But anytime I see Danny Heatley's name show up, you know I'm going to highlight it. So we have to call it out. Danny Heatley, the great one. Now, looking back at Marchenko's hockey stat card, we see he already has found the back of the net a few times, including just this last night. And I tell you what, that shot is a good one. And he's got great hands. That tip he had in against the Flyers, absolutely fantastic. Now, Blue Jacket fans, this season may feel like a long one, right? But you have to love the young talent. And you know what? They are absolutely must-watch hockey, and I'm going to be tuning in. Now let's move on to reason number 2. Next up, I want to talk about the Nashville Predators. Sorry, Preds fans, I know you guys just beat my Oilers the other evening, but this has also been a tough season for you guys. Not as bad as some, right? Not a terrible season, but I know you expected more. As we check in on those NHL.com standings, we see 30 points up until recording this video, but no matter what, you guys have something the rest of the NHL doesn't. You have Juuso Parssinen. And I tell you what, I'm a huge fan of this young lad. For those not familiar with his story, he is a former 7th round pick with size, wheels, some disgusting skill. The young Finn, man, he has really emerged this season, and he has actually become the reason that I seek out Preds games. Started out hot, came back down to earth a little bit, but as we can see here on his hockey prospecting card, his odds of even making it to the NHL, they didn't really give him very good odds, right? They weren't great. We see a lot of red on this card. Yet, here we are, watching him do things like this. Gotta love it. Now, the player comps also did not call out anything of note, so we're not really going to touch base on him. But Juuso is proving the numbers wrong, baby, and that is absolutely fascinating. That's an anomaly. We love to see it. So as we take a look at Parssinen's hockey stat card, we can see that he has come down to earth a little bit lately, right? Overall, he's posted very respectable numbers. And as a former 7th round pick, I'm going to say it again, we even used it on the thumbnail, 7th round pick, the fact that he has seen top line minutes and performed admirably on a team with playoff aspirations, well, that's not too shabby. I will be tuning in to watch Juuso Parssinen the rest of this season, and maybe he does help the Preds turn this ship around. But you know what? Let's move on into reason number 3. Now, where Nashville had aspirations of being a good team this season, we got to look at a team that didn't. The San Jose Sharks. We know we're rebuilding a little bit, even though the team doesn't want to necessarily admit it all the way, but boy, they have most certainly lived up to that billing this season, as we see right now, according to NHL.com standings. Once again, big shout out to them. We see that they are only above the Ducks in the Pacific Division standings, and you know what? Adam Fantilli would look awfully good in teal, just saying. And you know what? That actually leads us beautifully into my last reason to watch a disappointing team this season. The Sharks, their very own Michigan man, Thomas Bordeleau. That's right, Vegas fans, look away. I know he broke your hearts not that long ago, but I will be catching the Sharks the rest of the way, patiently waiting for my man Bordeleau to make it to the big time. That's right, he's going to get the call sooner rather than later. The former 2022 second round pick is having a solid AHL season this year with the Barracudas, along with fellow top prospect William Eklund, and here we see his hockey prospecting card, and honestly, it's not really that overly impressive. Not that much to write home about. Nothing glaring stands out to me from a numbers perspective or on the player comps perspective. Really, again, just nothing really to write home about. But I tell you what, there are some players out there that I'm just a big fan of their game, and Thomas Bordeleau is one of those players for me. If we look at his historical numbers, courtesy of Elite Prospects, big shout out to them, be sure to check them out as well, we see his numbers this season with a respectable 19 points in 27 games played for the Barracudas. Historically, he did put up a point per game pace his last season at Michigan as well, so he has historically produced. Now either way, I'm a big fan of his game, and hopefully, as this Sharks team continues to make their push for the top draft pick, Bedard, Fantilli, Bordeleau, maybe he gets his shot and never looks back. But let me ask you this. What are you going to be watching as the season progresses? Has your team maybe disappointed a little bit? Let me know down in the comments, and be sure to check out our other videos. I do appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, hockey fans, cheers!